Hello everyone. So can anyone describe what these two pictures are?
It's a duck covered in oil and a very skinny polar bear.
That's right. So does anyone know what causes 30% of the United States global warming emissions?
Transportation.
That's also correct. These emissions come from all the transportation vehicles in the United States. So how do you think that 30% compares to the rest of the world? Is it higher or lower?
Is it higher?
That's correct. That 30% is higher. Only 14% of the world's emissions come from transportation. My name is Emily Nguyen, and today my group and I will cover the dangerous effects of global emissions and how these problems continue to persist our environment today. We will begin by reviewing a few statistics on the United States emissions, their impact on the planet, and how these numbers compare to the rest of the world. Afterwards, we will provide some solutions on how you can help decrease these numbers. Then we will take a look at two common counter-arguments against carbon emissions and global warming, and also refute these arguments with proven data. And lastly, we will convince you to go green to decrease your carbon footprint on our environment. Now Jesse will cover the problems that come from high emissions.
Jesse, and let's begin looking at some of the stats of how carbon emissions are persisting within our environment. Major global warming, it's a problem and it's persisting today. That's the problem. It's still going on. Global warming is going to hurt us. The Earth's going to get hotter. Number one problem is emissions from cars and transportation. The Union of Concerned Scientists claim that cars and trucks together are combined for account total of 1/5 of the U.S.'s global emissions. 24 pounds of emissions and other toxic gases are emitted for every gallon a vehicle produces. 5 pounds from extracting oils and 19 pounds from heat trapping emissions. All transportation vehicles within the U.S. produce 30% of the U.S.'s global warming emissions, more than any other factor that contributes to global warming. Second, there's too much of a reliance on fossil fuels. 81% of cars and trucks run on coal, oil, and other natural gases. We're using too much, and the more we use, the more we consume, the higher risk we have for accidents and spills. Transportation of these fuels lead to spills that harm the ecosystem for plants and animals. Mining operations damage plants and wildlife. Third, or last, or one of our things, is the pollution of the environment. Emissions are known to deeply affect the quality of air, soil, and water. Nitric oxide gas, for example, is evidence to be released into the air. It's a common greenhouse gas, and once released into the air, it thins our ozone layer, allowing deadly radiation from the sun to pierce our planet. Spills during transportation will also devastate the animal ecosystem and completely alter the environment. These are some of the stats and problems that persist, and this is why global warming is bad. And it's still happening, and we need to stop it. You can wave now.
My name is Kinori Teve, and although it may seem like our damage is irreversible, there are still many actions that we can take to help reduce the amount of emissions let out into the air. Some solutions that may help prevent this problem from getting worse are to use fuel-efficient vehicles which use less oil, therefore decreasing the amount of emissions let out into the air. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, electric cars are examples of these types of vehicles that release less emissions because they use electricity that comes from sustainable sources, therefore producing zero emissions when driving. Some examples of these types of vehicles are Tesla's Toyota hybrids and Nissan Leafs. Since car emissions are one of the major factors contributing to global warming, using vehicles that burn less fuel would help to slow down the process of global warming and would reduce pollution and smog by at least 50%. Another possible solution is to use cleaner fuels. These types of fuels tend to release significantly less emissions when burned compared to gasoline. One example of a cleaner fuel that can be used in cars is cellulosic biofuel, which can help to reduce emissions by at least 80%.
Hi, my name is Martin, and I'll be going over some of the counterarguments. A few people think that even if we take the maximum actions to reduce carbon emissions right now, there will still be an increase in temperatures. And even though this is true, temperature increase actually lies on a spectrum. And if we as humans don't take any actions right now, we're gonna go towards the further end of the spectrum where temperature increases to a point where humans cannot live comfortably. But NASA has actually stated that if we take the proper actions right now, then the temperature increase could be as low as 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is still an increase, but it's not as significant as if we don't do anything. And some people also think that other forms of transportation, like electric vehicles, are expensive or harder to find. And that used to be the case, but as time goes on, we're actually coming to a point where the price of electric vehicles is coming closer to what regular vehicles are. And owning an electric vehicle actually comes with a lot of benefits like tax credits and government incentives. And the price of charging one at home to maximum charge actually costs less than it would take to purchase 1 gallon of gas.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashika Muti, and over the last few minutes, my group members spoke to you about the major problems regarding global warming that stem from carbon emissions, which were the high numbers of carbon emissions from cars and transportation, heavy reliance on fossil fuels, and the overall damage carbon emissions have had on our environment. The two solutions we presented revolved on using fuel-efficient vehicles that use less oils, such as hybrid or electric vehicles, and to use cleaner fuels than just regular gasoline, which would produce significantly far less carbon emissions into our air. Although many people do believe that global warming is a hoax, the numbers and factual evidence cannot and do not lie. The Earth is warming up, and it is up to us as a community to put a stop to this increase before the damage we have caused the planet and its population becomes irreversible. With electric vehicles being worth your money in the future, I urge you to invest in a fuel-efficient car. And if that's too big of a step, then you can maybe take a walk to your destination, public transportation, or even bike to reduce your carbon footprint. Any step you will take will help the planet and the people around you in the long run. Thank you for your time and attention.